Well, hello, and this is another episode of So What's Your Story? My name is LaQuita Parks, and I am the CEO and founder of PayProV Publishing. And PayProV means pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there's no progress, and without progress, there can be no victory. So I help people take their stories from a thought to a realization. Now, so what's your story? Every month, we bring stories to you because guess what, guys? Our stories matter. Okay. Our stories are important because there is somebody waiting. So, I believe that 100% of everybody living and dead has a story, right? And on the end of your story, somebody else is waiting so that they can get healing from their story. So they may be where you've been, but they don't realize that they can get to the other side of through. So every month, so what's your story? Paper V Publishing brings our stories matter to you so that you understand that there is power in your story. So today is none other than it's gonna be amazing because I have some amazing people. This is Autism Awareness Month, and some of you may not be familiar with it, but I'm gonna say if you're not familiar with it, you've probably been under a rock. Okay. Now, there may be some specific things that you don't understand about it, but today we're going to talk to some people who know all too well about autism awareness, and they're going to share some amazing things that's going on here in the Atlanta area. And if you're in Atlanta or if you're near Atlanta, they're going to tell you about some things you can do to join us for Autism Awareness Month. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and have my guests to introduce themselves. So, I'm going to start with you, Jerry, because you look like you're just excited to start talking. So, come on and introduce yourself. Tell us about you. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and just tell us, what does autism, when you hear the word autism, what does that mean to you?
Okay, my name is Gerald Hadley. I live in Jonesboro, Georgia. I am a program coordinator for Clayton County Parks and Rec, and I work out of Virginia Gray Recreation Center. And what I program there are activities for our therapeutic recreation population, which deals with people with autism and other special needs.
Awesome. That's wonderful. So, how long have you been doing that?
Okay, I've been in this position for 2 years now, and when I started, I had very little knowledge, but there is a great opportunity to jump in and participate in that population.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I love it. All right. My friend, we go back. We go way back. We have a mutual friend in common. I don't know if it's her friend, but she's definitely my friend. It's her mama. So Miss Noni, I'm gonna call her Noni, but that's just the nickname that family calls her. So she's gonna introduce herself. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I am Mornike. Some, of course, like you said, family call me No Knee. Um, but in the fitness world, they call me Mo for short. So I am a group fitness instructor, and I'm from Jonesboro, Georgia, as well, like Miss Jerry. um, but I teach fitness classes for therapeutic recreation at Virginia Gray Parks and Recs. We have Chair One Fitness. One of our classes that we teach is a chair based class. And then I also do Zumba Gold, which is a modified version of Zumba for our therapeutic recreation department. So we have
Okay,
that.
so I'm sorry. So you said a modified class. Now, when I was at your class, it wasn't nothing modified about that. So
Well, that
we're gonna
wasn't for
talk
that
about that. We're gonna talk about that later because I'm like, you need a modified class. So it was just I was in the wrong class. Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
you were in the right.
Because I'm like, I didn't hear that. I had to modify myself. So I'm like, wait a minute. You told me to modify, but
No,
okay, all right.
you were in the correct class.
Okay. It was too advanced for me. So when you hear the word autism, what does that mean to you?
um, it just means different, but special. It
Different
means
but
special.
special.
I have a son who's on the autism spectrum, and I have met a lot of wonderful people over our 26-year journey, soon to be 27 next month. So yeah, it's they're special. You can learn a whole lot
Yeah.
when you're working with that community. So I'm very hopeful. And different is a word that comes to mind, but different not in a negative way.
Got you. Got you.
I always try to encourage and use the phrase that a lot of people want to talk about what they can't do. So I just always say, just show me what you can do, and we'll go from there.
I
We can work.
love that. I love that. Now, wait, did you say 27?
Yes,
He
27.
27?
Next month.
Girl,
Yep.
I just told Jacqueline, as a matter of fact, that I said, I think he like 21. Okay.
I'm trying to hold him there too, but no.
I could not believe that. So in my next guest, Jacqueline Cox, introduce yourself and then tell people where you from, who you are, where you're from, and what does the word autism mean to you?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jacqueline Cox. I am a Chicago native, but I'm in the burbs. I ain't well over there. No more with them peoples. Uh, I love my peoples, but I had to move a little way. I'm in Montgomery now, Montgomery, Illinois. I've been here for almost 13 years now. And autism to me, um, truly means genius. Um, and I say that because, um, people fear what they don't understand. So they are quick to, and I'm just learning this within the last 3 or 4 years of my son's diagnosis. At first he was diagnosed as autistic, and then they diagnosed him recently as I'm gonna tell you what they said because they didn't want to give them the full thing. So they said ADHD combined type and other specified neurodevelopmental disorder is what they call them now, instead of just saying. And then when I said, well, what does this mean to the neurologist? Oh, that just means autistic. So when they don't have a word, they make up one. But autism means everything that you can imagine the smartest person on the world being. And because everybody is not as smart, um, they fear what they don't understand.
I love that. I love that. And you know what? That is 100% true. I love that. Thank you guys. So when autism, the word, it used to be autistic. That was the word when I understood it. I used to work in the school system, and there was a little boy in the special needs program for exceptional children. I worked with the program for exceptional children, and there was a little boy named Christopher. And Christopher shared my same birthday. His birthday was October 10th. And Christopher always had to be redirected. And this was 30 years ago. So he had to be redirected. And I didn't understand what was going on. I was just the assistant in the program for exceptional children. But he would get fixated on one thing. And if it was the mailbox, he would open and close the mailbox. And then when you redirected him, he started doing some other things. That was my first. And then we started mainstreaming and all these other things. There was a very thin line between behavior, because a lot of people say, oh, he has a behavior problem. So there was a very thin line. So that was my first taste of autism, as I know it now. And then I have a bonus child who has a daughter, who is a very, very important part of our family, who is on the autism spectrum, and she is nonverbal. But to see her interact, and Jacqueline, I'm going to share something that was just amazing that happened, and I don't think I shared this with you. It was amazing. I may have shared this with you, Noni, or maybe your mom, but in the book, and we'll talk about that. So Noni, this is Jacqueline. Her son is the one who wrote the book with his dad. My superpowers are not weird. Okay. And so in the book, he talks about his superpowers and when he gets excited and the bubbles. And you notice on the flyer, that's why I have the bubbles on there. So he has the bubbles, and he talks about getting excited and he flaps his arms. Well, on Easter, when we were at our family house, having dinner as we do with my family, baby girl was there, and she and her mom, they got Easter baskets, and everybody gets, all the kids get treated the same, and she got an Easter basket, and she was dancing with her mom, and when she got the Easter basket, her superpowers came out. She started flagging her arms, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I immediately thought of Marvis. And I said, wow. And she's not, I know Marvis is verbal, she's nonverbal. And I thought, oh wow. So I love that I love words other than different. Because I'm different. Geraldine, you're different.
Mhm.
Jacqueline, you're different. Noni, you're different. We're all different. But what does that mean? So to say somebody's different doesn't mean a lot, but people fear what they don't understand. So I really love that. So Noni, I want to go back to you. What was your first experience with autism? How did you know that there was something going on? And I'm not going to say something wrong, but how did you know that there was something going on with JR?
Your friend? No.
I know.
My mom.
Yes, honey.
It
I
was,
invited her, but she
yes.
didn't respond.
It was my mom. Because he was going to work with me, so he's with me all the time. So I didn't notice certain things because we are just still, even now, we're just, he doesn't have to say anything for me to know what he needs. I have to actually pull back from knowing so much, using that and making him, pull more out of him. But no, we actually thought it was his hearing, because he didn't respond the same way to me. It wasn't to everybody else as he did to me. And so we have a kidney disease in our family. And one of the side effects is hearing and vision loss. So we thought that maybe that was what was going on. But once we had his hearing and checked and all of that, and then his primary care, actually he was diagnosed extremely early. He was a year and a half. So he actually lost speech after a series of vaccines, but we won't go into that. But yeah, so we started noticing stuff there. But it was, my mom was the first one that picked up on it. And then that's when we started getting the hearing checked. And once we could rule that out, then then we kind of, in the primary, his primary care, like I said, he's been with her since he was a year old. So she started kind of picking up on that language regression that happened. Cause when you're on schedule, you got those milestones and you're checking for them because they're going to the doctor all the time. And then all of a sudden you start to notice, things either slowing down or disappearing completely. So, but yeah, he was diagnosed at a year and a half. So we've been rolling a while.
That's the same thing that my bonus daughter said. She said she noticed immediately, like the next day after the
Mhm.
vaccine, that there was something not right, something was going on. And it's like one day there was one personality, and the next day it was completely
Totally different. Yeah.
totally
Yeah. He
different.
got a really, really high fever. We had to take him to urgent care, but it was all, like you said, it was like night and day almost. Change. So
hmm And Jacqueline, what about you? When did you what made you say, okay, something's not quite right? What was that?
To be honest with you, Marvis never showed signs early on. Um, Only issue that we had with Marvis actually adapted really early to everything. He was walking in this walker at 3 months. By 7.5, 8 months, he was walking. He was running at 9 months. He was saying his alphabets and his sounds and his shapes before he turned 2. He knew his numbers, he knew his word, he was very verbal. It was nothing. And then I want to say when he started daycare, he was late going to the potty, but that again, that's normal. So it was nothing. He was reading at 3 books, okay, like whole books. Quita, I got videos all on my Facebook page. He knocked every milestone out the ballpark. It wasn't until he started pre-K that, you know, we were getting, you know, a little feedback from the teachers that he wasn't really comprehending, basically getting what they was given. And by us living in a very racist community, okay, I wasn't accepting of it at first. I was like, oh, they just racist, you know, because we had experienced that so much with our other child. And, you know, with my husband as well, like we black, my husband black, my kids black, I'm black, we black, and we living in this area where they don't too much care for us. So, and then we're a black family that's together with the mom and the dad who are both successful in the home, a Christian, you know, foundation, and we're not as accepted. So I just took it as this and that, but I still did my just due, took him to the doctor, and then um the doctors didn't catch it at first. They were like, we don't know what they're talking about. You know, he's great. You know, they checked the hearing, they checked the vision. Of course, the vision, he needed glasses, you know, this and that. But then as he started to progress, we started seeing the signs, probably around I think I was on the phone with you, Quita, and I was like, they not treating him right. We gonna take him out that school because they trying to say he got this and he got that. And I end up taking him to her, and we paid out of pocket to get the neural test done. That was like almost $3,000, and we went every week. And when we got the test back, that's when we found out that he definitely, you know, did have autism. And he was overly verbal. His IQ was through the roof, but it's the way that his brain takes in the information is not the same as we would take in the information. So it's the transference of the brain, the way that the brain takes in, but the way that he verbalizes what his emotions are, and how it affects other people is where his disconnect kind of comes into play. Like he's starting to realize that now that he's been in therapy for a couple years, but at first he just could not understand how what he does affects other people, or how he reacts, and how he needs to calm down, because we saw those same signs with my other son who has ADHD. So we kind of figured, well, maybe he just has ADHD, you know, because we had that with Jaden. But no, he definitely, once we start seeing the flapping of the hands and the getting excited and the moving around, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And then when I looked it up, I said, okay, I can see this. But super intelligent. Oh, and then you know what? His speech, him actually saying full sentences and having full dialogue with people, didn't happen until he turned almost 5. So between 4 and 5, like he could say the words, he could read it, he could read a book, but to sit and talk with me and you, Quita, he wouldn't do that as much, or he didn't really know how to do that until he got about 4. And Jaden took that long too, but I took that as once they get it, they got it. And he doesn't talk like a you know, he doesn't speak like a regular 7-year-old. He's so articulate that his words and his speech is somebody that is of maybe 14, 15 years old. He waited until he can understand what the word meant and how to use it in a sentence before he would say it. So he would know the word, he could spell the word, but he wouldn't use it in a sentence or talk to you with that word until he truly understands what that word means. Even to today, he would, if he is it's not something he recognized, he'll say, what does that word mean? Okay, what does this mean? Can you use it in a sentence for me? And he will express that so he can understand. Next time I'm gonna say it like that because I know that that's what that means. So
And genius.
that's what I'm working with. Yeah.
Genius. Just what you said, genius. I love that. Gerald, Gerald, is
Yes.
it Okay.
You can say either one. It's
Well,
fine.
listen, correct me, honey, because listen, I have a lot of problem with people calling my name wrong. They say LaQuinta, LaQuisha, LaQuanda, LaQuathia. Don't know how they get LaQuathia from LaQuita. But I'm like, listen, if y'all can go to these Italian restaurants and pronounce them hard menu names, y'all can say LaQuita. Okay? So make me pronounce your name right, honey.
Okay, well, this is a situation. My name is Gerald, but most people call me Jerry.
Oh,
And depending on what you call me, tells me how well you know me.
okay, girl. I want to know you well. So what should I
Okay,
call
call
you?
me Jerry then.
Jerry. All right, Jerry.
Okay.
We friends now.
Yes,
We friends.
ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. So Jerry, tell me, so how were you, do you have um did you have people that were in your family that you work with autism, or when you started working for the community, is that when you first started to encounter?
Well, I started out working in some group homes with children, with parenting teams.
Mm,
So some of their children showed behaviors that they were probably on the spectrum, but I didn't deal with that aspect at that time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Fast forward, and when I came into the county, um, their therapeutic recreation program kind of stopped right before the pandemic.
mm-hmm.
So for like 2 years, there was nothing going on with therapeutic recreation. And just as I got promoted into the position, being a coordinator, I met Mo. And so she has been instrumental in my education. And then I also have a daughter that is a director of an early childhood development center. So she's a huge resource for me as well. So when I see certain behaviors, I tend to reach out to her and children because my first 2 years at being a coordinator, I dealt with the adult population,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're trying to really branch out and deal with young people. So last year was the first year I ran my therapeutics summer camp, and so this year we're doing it again as well. Okay. And
Okay.
that goes from age 5 to 21, because that's when
Okay.
they typically age out of the program.
Okay, I love it. So what type of activities do you guys have?
Well, like I said, because I dealt with a lot of adult population, we did a lot of events that helped with their socialization and stuff like that. So annually, we have an all-white party, we have an all-black party, we have things that go on during the holidays.
Mhm.
Um, we had a jingle and mingle for Christmas this year, which we have a lot of fun. And Mo is usually my MC or my DJ, so she
I
has
know
the
she
music
is.
bumping. Yeah, she had the music bumping, and they love to get out there and dance. And at Virginia Gray, we also have a therapeutic recreation garden that we're developing. So we're teaching them how to garden and things like that as well.
I love that. I love that. So I'm bouncing around now. So Mo, Mo and our old friends, so I can call you Mo. No, we family, so Noni, um, Noni Mo, Noni Mo,
Right.
Mo. So what was it like with what was a day? Describe what a normal day was like in your household with a child with autism. What was a day like, or a week like for you?
um, well, during those school years, you get up and the regular routine, breakfast, all that good stuff. He goes off to school. I actually spent a lot of time at his school, regardless from the beginning to the end. Always volunteering. I actually kind of worked my job around him, and being able to make sure that I could be at the school because he's not nonverbal, but he speaks very softly, very quietly. Um, and he doesn't speak a lot, only when he needs to, or if you ask him something, he might respond. Um, so I had to um, build up the relationships, every with each teacher. I just didn't trust a lot of people around, for him to be with like that because I mean, even if he could talk and tell me, I still just don't trust people like that. But the fact that I knew he would have to struggle to tell me, then that was always a concern, because even when he was younger and I did try to do daycare, things would happen and I had to just take the word of the daycare provider. I had nothing coming from him to know whether it was true, it was not. You got these marks on you. I don't know where they came from, that kind of. So it was like, okay, well, they said that you would speak more if you went to daycare. So we tried it, didn't like it. I just took, because I was able to take him with me to work, but everybody kept saying, oh, he's not talking because he's with you all the time. He doesn't have to talk, because you already know what he wants. So, put him in daycare, he'll start talking. That wasn't the case. So he just went back with me to work. But he is a swimmer. So our days would be, picking up. We also had to deal with speech therapies twice a week, occupational therapy. So that had to be worked in there. So I had to have my village. Hey, Ma, I see you on.
I know. And if you can come on, if she's going to say no, but if you can come, this is a live broadcast, ma'am. So if you can come on camera.
No, ma'am, no camera today.
Okay, the world won't see who you are.
Okay, but
Go
yeah,
ahead,
so
go ahead.
mom and dad, my husband, everybody had to just kind of chip in and pull the help with the running, because it's a lot of extra appointments and things like that. But it's what they need, and just because they get it in school does not mean that you don't need to get private services outside of school. The school is only going to handle what school needs to handle for them to be successful in school, not outside of school. So. But then there's swim practice. I mean, we live the swim life. So that's where we were, school and the pool and therapies. So
so I know that you garnered a community. So there's a community. Have you, and I know you probably know where you guys took an active role in his life and what was going on, and you had an amazing support community. So were there people, and I know, Jerry, you probably see that, where there are people who have the same, but they don't invest as much time. Do you see a difference in the success of those young people?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, not a lot, but some of my population, they're being raised by grandparents and stuff like that. And so they're not getting the exposure to the resources that are available, which is one of the things Mo and I are trying to accomplish with our Autism Day on April 27th, having some resources there that the caregivers can tap into.
Okay, I like that. So hi, Miss White. We're gonna come to you in just a moment. We've been talking about you. Your ears were probably burning. Jacqueline, same question. What's a day like for you with Marvis and with Jaden? What's a day like?
No, it's good.
Tired already.
You need to be asking their daddy that question. But really, truly, it really is not. I just thank God. I truly do. Some days it's very, very good, and then some days, a lot of days, it could be a lot. Trying to, juggle my work. On top of, um, I'm always emailing, talking to the teachers. I'm so nosy, they can't stand me, and it's okay. I'm one of those people that if I got a question, I'm going to ask you. I don't care if you feel insulted or if you feel like, why is she asking me all of these questions? I'm in every meeting. I'm up there sometimes maybe 3-4 times a week. You already know how I am, LaQuita. Anything that's not right, I want to know what happened, who did it, why they did it, where's the incident report. Everybody needs to sign it. I'm like one of those people. If the grades are not looking up to par, I want to know why. Especially if they have a 504 or IEP. Are you guys, are you grading on the curve? Are you giving them all the accommodations that's been requested, and are they going to their therapies? Are they missing any meetings, social work meetings? If so, why? Because the state is paying for it, so you guys are getting paid to provide these services. Are they being serviced? Are they being met? On top of that is getting up. Marvis likes a lot of colors, so he likes to pick out his stuff. He likes his hair a certain way. He's very color coordinated. Jaden more laid back, not a problem. They both make very, very good grades. Both of them honor roll straight A students since they've been in school. Like I said, very, very intelligent boys. Um, Always pray, always, when we get up in the morning, before we leave the house as a family, in the car, on the way to school, coming back. Me and dad want to know about their day. What did they do? What did they eat? What did they like? What they didn't like? What did they learn? Um, we also do a lot of sports, recreation. Marvis has a guitar, he has a piano, he has a drum set, he loves music, he has a karaoke machine. They do karate, they do swimming. Um, Whatever it is that they like. Jaden likes soccer, so he's on the soccer team. They do IXL, they do whatever it is, play their video games and they telephones, and just whatever it is to keep them busy. They have to remain busy, but they also, we do focus games, Uno, dominoes, Connect Four, whatever it is, to try to hone in to, to exercise them being focused on something for a certain period of time so they won't lose focus. Always reading. Marvis loves reading. He loves writing books, but he really loves reading books, especially Dog Man. He'll go take the books to the bathroom and read them in the bathroom, child. He likes reading. He likes music. He likes instruments. So those things we try to implement, and add that on top of my workload and Mr. Cox's workload, and that's just one day. So multiply that by 7.
That's one day. And you know what? I love busy, and I love that because there are so many, I hear so many parents and I see so many people making excuses why they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't. And I like what you said, no need, focus on what you can do and we can go from there. We can all go through what we can't do all day long. We can all do that, but if that's where we focus, if I share with y'all what my week has been, and this is Thursday, y'all would be like, okay, so that's just, it's just crazy. So focus on what you can do, and let's do that. That's a really great place to start. That's the foundation right there. So thank you for sharing that. Miss Arlene White, thank you so much for being on. We were talking about you before you came on, but I want you to introduce yourself. Noni and I were talking about how we know each other. I told her it was my friend. I don't know if it was her friend, but you was definitely my friend. And I said, so tell us who you are, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and come back on camera though. Tell us. And she went off camera and put on mute. So tell us who you are and where you're from, and how do you know, what do you hear? What do you think about when you hear the word autism?
Well, my phone is not acting. It's not. I think I'm tapping on the wrong. I don't know what I'm hitting.
Well, we can hear you. Now you're on mute.
Okay, now.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So can you see me? It's
No,
look like
ma'am.
the video has stopped. I see
Yeah,
it
we
says
can
the
see.
video has stopped. Okay. Arlene White is speaking. Yes. So my name is Arlene White, and what were your questions again, please?
Just who you are, and tell us, what, when you hear the word autism, what does that mean?
Um, so I've already said I'm Arlene White. And when I hear the word autism, I think of my precious grandson. And it doesn't really have a meaning in the way that I feel like society has put a stigma on it, so to speak. I think about it just like someone saying, I have diabetes, I have high blood pressure. I mean, it's not something that I feel like it doesn't define who that person is. It's just something that that person has to deal with. Just like someone that is a diabetic doesn't define them as, okay, well, you got diabetes, so yes, there's certain things that you have to do, certain things that you shouldn't do, and that's what I think about when I hear the word autism. And um, I don't know if Noni and I were talking about this or it came up in a conversation, but when I hear someone says, "Oh, well, he or she is autistic," to me, they're trying to define that person, which is different from saying that person has autism. And someone may say, "Well, what's the difference?" To me, it's a big difference. Um, Someone that's autistic, then, and to me, immediately the person that hears that puts a different picture in their mind of that person.
Mhm.
Jacqueline was talking about how smart her boys are, and I'll be the first one to attest to how smart Jr. is. Jr. was, I don't even know if he was in elementary school. I've always had computers in the house. My kids grew up with computers. The grandkids grew up with computers. Jr. would come over to the house and he would be on the computer because I would have like Reader Rabbit and all these different softwares that was out back then, and he would get on the computer. Well, when he left, he's changed something on the computer. It's like, I need to find out what this boy is doing because he'll leave, and now I go back and he knew exactly what he was doing. And so just to know what was going on in his head just intrigued me. I would tell Monique, I just wish I could just see how you know things was going, and what was going on in his head, and how the wheels was turning in his head, because he was very, 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 very smart, very intelligent, and learn very quickly. I mean, you show him one time, that's it, he got it. You tell him one time, he got it. And he was a perfectionist. If he did anything, it had to be perfected. It wasn't going to be half done. And he's going to go through whatever changes he had to go through to make sure that it was done to perfection. And that was what everything that he did. The best times that we've had was when he and I both was going to the personal trainer, and when I tell you he got in that gym with those other men and that testosterone, I saw a different young man come out, and it was wonderful. So I'm gonna stop right there. I don't know if that answered your question, but
Absolutely.
I can go on and on and on talking about my JR. And let me not just let me take a step back, because JR wouldn't be the way JR is if it wasn't for his mama. So I'm gonna have to give my daughter her shout out and give her flowers and tell her she has done a wonderful job raising my grandson. And
Oh,
I commend her for all the time and attention and sacrifices that she made as he was growing up. And she, you know, never wavered, not one time. If there's anything that he needed or anything that needed to be done, she stayed on top of everything. One of the biggest things that I would contribute to her was him being in the band. And this was just one of those things where she was volunteering at the school, and they sent out the little notices to the parents. So she waited for JR to come home, and she looked in his book bag and she didn't see a notice. And so she know the notices went out because she was in the office volunteering. And so she know that the notices went out to the students. So the next day she went to the office. She says, "Why didn't JR get a notice for the band?" They says, "Well, normally our special needs kids, are not participating." And they said, "You can go talk to the band director." So of course she went and talked to the band director. And the band director says, "Well, normally we don't have special needs kids that's interested." And really, he didn't have anybody to help him. So he didn't feel like he would have the extra time. She said, "Well, I tell you what." And of course, she was in the band. Both kids was in the band. She played the clarinet. She said, "Well, I tell you what, I'll trade off. I'll work with your clarinets and you work with him on the percussions." And that's what they did. So she would work with the band director, and JR was in the band. He was in the not the marching, the one that they performed, and he did great. The teacher was very surprised that he learned how to read the notes. So he would look at the sheet, he'll memorize the sheet, he can put the sheet back, and then when it's time for them to play that music, he knew how to play the music just from watching it, looking at the sheet one time. So that intrigued the band director. That was the first time he had even worked with a special needs student, and it was a good experience for him. So that was just something that I always remember. And I don't think, Noni, you can correct me, since Jonesboro has really made it to the news media because they've been invited. I think it was invited last year, this year, to New York for the Macy's parade. So their band has really excelled. So I don't know whether or not they have had any additional special needs kids in the band or not, but I would be interested to see if because they've received such notoriety, if they've actually had any special needs kids in there. Okay, I'm done.
You know, thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
Well, I was gonna say, you know what, that's really beautiful because, even with parents, period, sacrifice is necessary. And what we're seeing a lot of is that there is no sacrifice. And what you said, Jerry, children are being raised by grandparents, and the grandparents are tired, and it's a different generation of children, and it's a whole lot going on, and you can't maintain that energy because you did that energy with the children. Now you got to exert that energy with the grandchildren. But it's necessary. It's necessary because if you want a positive outcome, you have to make those sacrifices. And I wasn't on the autism spectrum, but for myself as a child, there was a lot going on with me. And if the sacrifices were not made for me medically, then I don't know where I would be with what I'm going through now. So it's a great thing. And you know what? I just so love when people get their flowers while they're living. So, it's a
Yes,
special thing to have somebody to say, good job when you're a mom. And a lot of people don't get that. This is my job. It's what I'm supposed to do. But to hear that, and then to hear it come from somebody who was an amazing mom, that's a beautiful thing. So
yes, and she's giving me my flowers, and I will give her hers because I wouldn't know what to do. JR would not have been in everything under the sun like Jacqueline's boys. Sometimes if you don't get that, then you don't know that you need to give that. But we were in everything we wanted to be, and so I felt like I can't do any less than what was done for me. I mean, even if you have to go and ask for help, it's still got to get done. I don't think they had a problem helping out when need be. We all, pulled and worked together, but I do understand that everybody does not have the same village. And some people you have to just create your own. I sometimes hear people say, I know everybody does not have a mom like mine. And I'm sad for them. But they have to just, you have to just get out here and find your village and create your village, because it's definitely needed. And I know we're talking about them in the younger years, but like I said, JR is about to be 27. And I still need my village. We're probably going to be delving into starting to work. Well, I still work. I'm still young. I still work. I have to, so I'm still going to need help when he's got to go to trainings and he's got to do, go to work and stuff, because he's not right now interested in driving. That may or may not change, but that's a component that sometimes people don't factor that in, that, hey, you want them to do certain things, but scheduling wise, like Jacqueline was saying, how is this all gonna, it's always something that has to be figured out, but it can be figured out, and we don't let it, we just work it out. We work it out. And if you have a good village, then it's a lot easier than just kind of taking it on, because it gets to be, like she said, that was just one day that she described. I mean, so if this is not something that none of us know what the future holds, but you can sometimes have certain expectations and you may get to them. It just may take our kids a little bit longer to get there. They may live on their own, but it may not be like your friends' kids at 21, 22, 23. You know what I'm saying? It may be not until later on, and that's fine. You just have to accept your children the way where they are, and continue to lift them up and work with your village to get them to the next, whatever that next level is that they need to be at. So
And you know what, that's an important segue. So my next question is, how do you, and Jerry, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm going to come back around and I'm going to ask it to you guys in a different way. But Jared, how do you, what kind of programs do you have in place to help the parents? So I have a mentoring program, and my mentoring program is helping parents help their children make better choices. So a part of my program was the children were, I was mentoring them, but I also offered the component where I mentored the parents as well. So I provided an outlet because the parents need an outlet too. So what are, or do you have programs in place to assist the parents?
Well, one thing I want to mention is when Mo was talking, you've got to be innovative. You've got to sometimes think outside of the box to come up with a solution. So as I've been programming this last year, one of the things we're working on is developing a respite for the caregivers, because like you say, they need to be poured into as well. And it's tough. So we're looking at a spa day weekend where we'll take the child, or like I said, I deal with a lot of adults with autism and special needs. Even for their caregivers, we're trying to provide like massages, movie time or something, so that, or like a mom's morning out where they can drop the kids off or the people off and then go have a good day for themselves. Mo has a cousin, and I'm trying to get her to come in and do massages and stuff.
I'm trying to think. Is that Kimberly Raven? Is that
Yeah.
Miss Hollywood herself? See, I know these people.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is.
So those are some of the things we're working on, giving the caregivers a respite, as well as, like I was telling you, with our upcoming Autism Day, we're going to have different organizations come out and tell what their services are for and what's out there in the community. And like I said earlier too, what we're trying to do is revitalize the therapeutic recreation department in Clayton County. So this is our ground, floor efforts to get that happening.
Well, you know what? I know it's going to be outstanding because you got the right people involved in it. I
Absolutely,
know it's going to be
absolutely.
outstanding. And so if you're listening and you're in the Atlanta area, you don't have to be in Clayton County, but it will help. But if you're listening, come out and support. It's going to be on the 27th of April, and we're going to provide more information for you. But it's Autism Awareness Month, and we are speaking to some amazing people who have experienced successfully, if you can say that, successfully working with their family members, their children in the community, people with autism, not just children with autism, but people with autism. So, Jacqueline, I'm going to ask you, how do you, with everything that's going on, the day can get a bit chaotic. I know. I'm going to tell a quick story with Jacqueline, and I hope she doesn't mind, but she'll forgive me because it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission sometimes. So I remember when Jacqueline was talking about the school. I remember there was a situation going on, and she was like, "Mama Quita, I'm gonna send you, just send you this email. Do you remember that?" She was like, read this, read this email and tell me, should I send this?" And so I read the email, and I was like, no, don't send don't send that. I was like, take a step away from it. You have to remove the emotions, but don't send that. And one of the things that I love about Jacqueline is that she is so open to listen. She is open to hear what you have to say, and she's an amazing teacher, but she's open to learn too. So that's important. So how, with everything that you have going on, and you have some things of your own going on, how do you find balance for yourself in the midst of being there? How do you balance? And I know sometimes it's not easy, and you have an amazing support system because Marvis Cox is thebomb.com. So how do you balance for you? What do you do?
You know what? Marvis Cox is truly my only support system. Of course, you know,
All right. This is a safe space. The 200 million people can see you, but you can't see them. So it's
it's
a
a
safe
lot.
space.
It's a lot that goes into when we dealing with our children, because we got family, right? But everybody got their own thing going on. And my dad is gone and my mama is not around and his dad is gone. And, you know, they have one grandparent, right? And she got a lot going on too. And she helped when she can, but it's truly not a lot. Okay. If we're going to be totally honest. So it's really just me and my husband. And so it's a lot of days that he's burnt out, you know, working and then have to come back and then, you know, he has to, you know, pick up when I can't because I got lupus, I have thyroid cancer, I have fibromyalgia. So I'm dealing with all these things and then he's dealing with what he's dealing with on top of the kids, on top of me, and then we flipping it. Then I'm dealing with what he's got going on top of the kids, on top of this, on top of work, on top of me. And it's a lot. So, you know, when you don't work like a I used to work a corporate. I used to work, well, not a corporate job, but I used to work for Lutheran Social Services, and I was a therapeutic foster care recruiter. And I had to learn the therapeutic behavior program and teach it to the foster parents. And that was before I had Marvis, and then, you know, before he was diagnosed. And then I also used to work for AID, and I used to work for Aspire. So I used to work with people with those type of disabilities. So because I had all of, you know, those hours in training, um, I knew what to do and how to do and how to work with people with disabilities. But I never thought in a million years that, you know, and so it's rough. It's rough. But you know what? When I have a virtual community, right? So I have that sisterhood with people where I can call and just vent. I have a sisterhood of nurses that I can call and tell them what's going on, and they can say, "Well, do this or do that," when I don't know the answer, or I got my web MD, so you know if I can research the answer, or get to the doctor in time, or you know those different things. But it's a lot. I don't have a balance. I work until I'm tired. I do it until I can't. And then I pass the ball to Mr. Cox. And then he does it until he can't. And then that's how we balance. We pass the ball. And we have a great, great son, Jaden. He's 13. He spends a lot of time with his little brother, you know, and so that helps. But Marvis is truly a light. Um, hold on one second. Sorry, you guys.
Okay, I think while she's talking to somebody, she may be talking to the kids. Noni, what about you? What do you do? How is the I know JR is older now, but like you said, he still has appointments. He still has to get from A to B. So how do you balance? What's the balance for you?
Um, it's almost the same. I still have to think the same as when he was in school. I still work around whatever he needs. But as I get older, I'm so getting more into self care. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but I feel like not that but I put in a lot of work, and it's he's to a certain point, and right now we're kind of in a transition phase because he's not working yet, and so he goes with me to work when I go to work. So right now it's
That's it. When he works, he works
yes,
for the
I give him jobs. I give him
family.
tasks. um, but I am faithful with my every other week massages. Because partly because of what I do, but the other part is just I just feel like you need that. And even if it's not going somewhere, I mean, I can just kind of just go in another room and just have some time just to myself. If I decide I want to just paint my nails, or if I want to just, read a book or watch a movie, or I mean, I know watching a movie, everybody seems, that just seems, but sometimes, um, you don't want to have to pause it and go and do this and that. You want to watch it, just sit with your popcorn, I don't know,
Watch it all the
but,
way through.
it's just that, that time to yourself. If you want to, want to do a date night, you can do a date night. I mean, but for me, it's me. Sometimes it's just laying in the bed doing nothing because you're running you're running all the time. So yeah, I just try to find times going meeting up with my friends like this weekend, just we have girls night. We're getting older, so girls night doesn't necessarily mean we're going out. Uh we play games, go to each other's houses, play games, watch movies, sometimes just put on music and dance, have fun. I exercise a lot. So sometimes I will go and visit because I'm an instructor. I go to other people's classes just to be a student, just to get whatever that, whatever kind of something different than what I do. Just to have fun because I've always loved to dance. So that's always been an outlet for me. So,
All right. Jacqueline, did you want? I know you had to put us on hold. Did you want to finish?
Yeah. So, and you know what? That is a good point that Mo Noni, I'm gonna call him Mo Noni, um, that she made. Because you know we before the pandemic and even through the pandemic, we used to always think that in order to release or relax, we had to take a vacation. I just started making my house my vacation. So my bed is full body massage bed. Every chair in every room in the house got something that massaged me. Um, I could kick my feet up. But to be honest with you, Marvis is the thing that relaxes me. I can get in my bed and turn on Housewives, and he gonna watch it with me. We gonna watch the reunion together, or we'll sit here and we'll watch the Polar Express a million times, or something, and it just him. Or if the kids are going to school, Mr. Cox will take me, to the spa, or take me, we'll go get our feet done, or just something to just breathe, right? And just get that. But to be honest with you, my kids give me that. You could be, exhausted, and just for Jaden to come in just to say, Mom, you okay? You've been on the phone. Do you need anything? My 13-year-old will get up. He's homeschooled. He'll get up. He'll make me breakfast. Bring me breakfast to the bed the days that I can't get out of bed, or if I'm in a lot of pain. He'll make toast and bacon, and cut up some fruit and bring it to me, or my husband will cook, or Marvis will come in with a cold pop or something, my favorite book or something. Like, those are the things that make it all worth it. And then church, church, church. If I can't get to church, I'm streaming church. I'm doing something to kind of hone everything back in. And so I can say, you know what, to God be all the glory. I thank God for having kids like these, because they truly are not what a lot of people who have kids with these same things, they are not problematic at all. My ADHD child, two-time Martin Luther King Award recipients. So they both are best-selling authors. They wrote their own books. they got their own clothing line, like these kids, and they made it themselves. Marvis had Jaden had the idea. Marvis has the visionary of how the clothes should look, and they brought them to fruition. And like, these kids are amazing kids, and I just thank God, because they're very mannerable, they're very respectful, they fear God, and they know their Bible, and they know what God gonna get them. That we ain't gotta do it, because God gonna get you, and that's enough for them. They fear God, so I appreciate. But they have such a loving and respect for him, should I say, that they just don't want to mess up. And I can piggyback off what Mononi was saying, and her mom was saying about how he got to get it right, right? He got to do it to perfection. That's how Marvis and Jane are. They have to do everything on down to the picture that they have on their book has to be correct. And the publisher is here to verify. It has to be look perfect. Why do it gotta look like this? The teeth a little off here. Like, every detail has to be perfect. And I just thank God that I do have a husband that I have, because a lot of times we don't have that. Like, no, I don't have my mom. I don't have my dad. I don't have those things. I was a foster kid. I went from place to place to place. So I don't know that structure like that. So me and my husband, we're learning and we're breaking those cycles where we're rooting our family in the word, in foundation, and being what we never got to see, what we never got to witness in our own homes. We're being there for our children, and we're watching and see the difference in the way that they act at their age than the way we did. And we're seeing that what we're doing is working, and it is right, and we are Black people doing it. And it's not going to be a lot of people that like it. It's not going to be a lot of people that respect it, but we're not doing it for the respect or the notoriety of them. We're doing it because that's what God put us here to do. And as long as we're breathing, they're going to know that they have a home. It's not going to be a 18 and you out. No, if you're not ready, you're not going. So I can respect Mononi when she say he's 27, but he's not ready. And we're gonna wait until he's ready. And if ever becomes never, or never becomes ever, I'm fine with that too. Cause I like having them here anyway.
Amen. You know what? It's um Jacqueline is so telling the truth with her Jalen is the oldest, and his book is called The Honorable Bee. And when I did a conference, and I told Jacqueline, she said, well, and I was like, no, he's the client. So I will talk to the client. So when I showed him the picture, he said, I said, do you like this? Yes, ma'am. And I was like, no, you don't. Why did you say yes, ma'am? If you don't like it, tell me. And he did not like that picture. He did not like the picture. And he was like, he asked his mom, why did you change it? She was like, no, I did not change it. He was adamant. Well, why is he did not like that picture. It was hilarious. He did not like it. And he loved the book. He loved everything. And he did an amazing job with the book. Everything, the colors, the everything. He did not like the picture. So he was like, no, he was like, that doesn't look like me. That doesn't look like me. So it's a beautiful thing. And then Marvis, this is Marvis's book. My superpowers are not weird. And it is a beautiful, beautiful story that Marvis wrote with his dad. And one of the things that I love the book. And Noni, this is what I was telling you. These are his superpowers. So autism is a superpower. And one of the things that I love about this family is that they go through a lot, but they are there for each other. They are there. And it makes a whole lot of difference, because there are families who are there. There are families who are two parents, but they're not there for each other. And I know that it's hard. I know that it's difficult. And so I'm gonna shift to you, Miss Arlene, as the grandmother and the support circle. it's important to have a support circle. And Noni, you said it, and Jacqueline, you said it too. If you don't have that support circle, then you have to build a support circle. And I know that for fact for myself. I have an amazing support circle, and it's my children, but it's a family that I cultivated, and that was cultivating me even when I didn't know them. And you know, and Arlene is one of those people in my circle. You know, and she that in Noni, she my mama too. So as a support, Arlene, how
Look, LaQuita, I'm used to that. I have shared my mom my whole life. So
right. And you know we down like 4 flat tires, girl. So we know I know
it's
where
all
yeah,
good. I'll
yeah.
share with you.
We know where you live. We know, I know. And Arlene, before you came on, she was talking about these modified classes that she do. I was like, wait, what happened to the class I was in? That was not a modified class. I was in the wrong class. She's talking about, no, you were in the right class. No, that was not modified. I modified myself. So we'll talk about that offline. But as a support, Arlene, how is it? Why is it important for you to make sure that there's a balance, that Mo has the balance so that she can continue to be all that she can be for JR?
Before I answer that question, I just want to give Jacqueline her flowers. I mean, the few minutes that I've been on this call, to hear her talk about what her day is like, what her husband's day is like, what they're having to deal with, what she's had to deal with growing up, what she's having to deal with. Um, and then to have two awesome, awesome young people that they've been able to instill just writing books and knowing what to write and clothing lines. They've done a remarkable job
Mm-hmm.
with the things that they've been challenged with.
Mm-hmm.
Her health issues and her husband's health issues and the children. I just want to say my hat goes out to her and her family, and keep that faith. I think that is really, when you brought that up, then I knew then, that's where your strength is coming from, and that's where all of our strength should come from.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that was interesting when we were going through this journey with JR, and he was in grade school. um, the teachers at the school had gotten very familiar with Noni. And so anytime a student came to the school with special needs, they would always call her, and they would ask her to, speak to them, and, let them know about resources and those kind of things. One of the things that is so important is you have to love your children.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it seems like if the child is not perfect, then, oh, they can't give them that love. That's when they need the love. And I had to talk to her a couple of times, because she would get just so upset when these children would come to school dirty, clothes dirty, hair not combed. Just, and you can tell the parents were not taking care of the kids. And she says, I know they get a check. They're not using the money to take care of these kids. And she would like be threatening to call. She would be threatening. I'm like, let the school do that. You back off a little bit, because she was about ready to get in some folks' faces, and just really, and I'm like, no, you're getting a little bit too close now. There was a job, I think, I'm trying to think of the title. It's where you actually intervene for the family, helping them know about resources, and helping them, find um, things that they don't, again, like Jacqueline
Parent
said,
advocate,
yes, the advocate.
parent
Um,
advocate.
not, and the thing about it, she was fortunate enough to be able to attend a lot of things, of course, that was on the north side of town. And that was one thing that we kept saying, you know, everything is on the north side of
Out
town.
of town.
A lot of things we not aware of, didn't even know things exist, didn't even know that, you know, our children was eligible for certain things and was supposed to get certain things. So just having her take the time, find out about all the legislature, going out to the state capitol, just having that love enough to know, okay, I want to find out what I can do that's going to make my child be the best that he can be. And I hear that from Jacqueline. I hear that. And I think just having that, a lot of times people think that's something that's easy to do, but sometimes it's hard to love your children when there's nothing wrong with them. You
Amen.
know, they start acting crazy and act like they don't lost their minds. You say, okay, you know, like you know, we used to hear on the TV, I brought you into this world, I take you out. But it's extra special when you can love a child that's special.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need. And when you see that, and it's not just with JR. I don't know. I feel that I felt that just listening to Jacqueline. I feel that already with her family and her boys, just not knowing them at all.
Mm-hmm.
My heart goes out, and I'm thinking, I need to find out what we can do to help. You know, because we all need help,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter. God put people in your life for a season and for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason you're having this podcast, this may be a reason and this may be the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we don't know where this is going to go, but I feel that it's going to be positive.
Wow, that is so Arlene. Isn't it, Mo? That is just so Arlene.
It is so her.
It is so her. It is so her. One of my favorite people. You know, we have to. It takes a village. I always say it takes a village. You have to know who's in your village, and that village is not always the family you're born into. And I know that because I get a lot of support from the family that I was not born into. And honestly, if I had to choose the people as my family, please. Now they know they wouldn't be chosen. So we have to appreciate the village and appreciate those things that happen in the village. So I absolutely think that's amazing. With the autism, as we start to wind down the program, Jerry, I want to ask you what type of resources do you provide? I know you have the programs, but what kind of resources would you direct people who are listening there? And Mo, I asked you the same thing. And Jacqueline, I know that you are in Illinois, but it's still the same community. So what type of resources, Jerry, would you say would you offer to a parent or even a sibling who's raising a sibling, a grandparent? What kind of resources would you direct them to?
Okay, so in Clayton County, because we're a part of Parks and Rec, we don't have specific resources, but in Clayton County, we have agencies that I typically will put people in contact with. We had an unfortunate situation where a young lady tried to harm herself while at our rec center. So there's Mo, the name of the organization is slipping my mind, but it used to be Clayton Mental Health. They're located on Mount Zion. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it talking about Clayton Center Services?
Yeah, Clayton Center Services. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So that's who we refer them to if we don't have the resources to deal with it. And then we do partnership with senior services. They have what is called kinship care. So that's where we also get a lot of our resources from.
Okay, okay. And what about you, Mo? What resources? You know a parent, and even, and I know that you guys work with a lot of people, and so they're young people, so they're coming, and there are some signs that you can identify because you've been through it. What would you say to a caregiver, and you're identified and they have not yet been diagnosed, but you can identify those? What would you say to that person?
So the first thing in that would be if they have not, is that person noticing the same thing that I'm noticing? Because I could notice something because of what I've been through, and that doesn't mean that they notice it, or if they notice it, that they're understanding that that may mean the same thing. So sometimes you have to wait for the person to meet you, and even sometimes, and to under to process all of that. It's a whole processing system once you start talking about things in people's kids. So you got to be
Oh
real
yeah,
careful.
tread lightly. Tread lightly. That's
So
right.
the first thing would be is if they are seeing the same thing and having and wanting answers to the question. It would be if they're in the school system, the school system has resources to do evaluations and things like that. It depends on the age. If they're really, really young, then here in Clayton, we have Babies Can't Wait. Then when they get in the school system, then they are like you said, Department of Exceptional Children. They do evaluations and things like that. If they are not in the school system, your primary care physician, like I said, my son was diagnosed at 1.5 years. So she sent us to what is now called the Marcus Autism Center, which is a private facility, and they did their own assessments and things like that. Here in, like I said, in Georgia, we have Emory. So there's a lot of different places that I could direct a person. It just would depend on the age of the child, and what exactly is going on. Is, I guess, as far as what resources I would suggest.
Mo,
But
I have a
always,
question for
I would
you.
always,
I have a question for you. What do you do when a parent is in denial, though?
oh, that's that. I
Tread.
mean,
That's where you're
yeah,
treading. That's where you're
I can't
treading
make,
lightly.
I can't, like I said, like she said, tread lightly. Because again, um, even before my son got an official diagnosis, it was still people giving me reasons that had nothing to do with autism on why he wasn't speaking anymore. They weren't really understanding that he was speaking and then it went away. They just didn't get that part of it. So, yeah, you have to be careful. You have to know, I guess, what type of relationship you may have with that parent, because that can determine some things. But at the same time, you even have parents that even once they've had the assessments done and it's right there on the paper, they still are not
Accepting.
Yeah.
accepting,
Yeah.
and accepting enough that if it's gotten to this point, then there needs to be this child needs resources to help them be successful. So while they're spending time in
In
denial,
denial.
and again, not to say that you don't need that processing time, and everybody's time is different. Some people get right on it and going. Sometimes, like in my case, I mean, I understood, but mom was giving me a whole lot of information. She was researching like I don't know what. And it got to be a overload.
Information overload.
Yes, yes. So
And I had to back off.
she still continued to do, and it was perfect. She still continued to get the information and just had to kind of feed it to me a little bit slower. And then we now of course we got a system. Hey, we developed the system. I mean, but I still needed the information. So them being in denial wouldn't stop me from handing them some information that they may need, if it's a pamphlet or something like that. But outside of that, is they got to get to it in their own
I
time.
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just hope and pray, and you just try to be encouraging and try to be as supportive as you can. Um,
I think it's very important, what you all said. I think it's very important that you tread lightly when there's a diagnosis, because there has to be the processing time. I know when my bonus child, when her daughter was diagnosed, it was processing, because there is that denial, and it's not saying that I don't want care. And Jacqueline said the same thing. She was like, "Hey, they don't like us because we Black. They just saying something." But when you go through she went through that processing time, and it was from a place of not necessarily denial, but being able to cope. How am I gonna, I gotta get to a point, and sometimes it takes a moment. I've got to get to the point where I'm able to cope, because I got to be able to cope to be able to help them. And you're right, the support systems are different. And definitely, continue to pray and tread lightly. And you're right. You know what? Here's some information when you're ready. It's right here. But you don't want to leave them alone too long, and the child is not getting the service that they need. So you tread lightly, and you kind of, tiptoe around it sometime, but then you just kind of keep on trying to enter that door. What were you gonna say, Jacqueline?
As a parent who was definitely in denial with both of my kids, I can attest to that. But also, um, it's because, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, our parents shied away from that. They didn't want to talk about that. They didn't want to do therapy, because then that would make them feel like something was wrong with them, or they would think that, oh, what will everybody else think? Everybody gonna think my child is crazy. They gonna think he this. I had a hard time, and to this day, I don't allow my child um to be in a special ed classroom, right? He's in a class with kids because he's functioning. Okay. So, and he is in the class with functional kids, but they take him out portions of the day, and then he goes and be with his groups. But I think it's more so of that stigma that we don't want on our Black children, because of how we were raised, right? We didn't go to therapy. We didn't do that. Our families, especially the Black household, we shied away from that. We didn't because
But
we'll say,
Jacqueline,
"Oh, you
don't you
going to
feel
see a
like it's
shrink, or
primarily
you
because
going to
there
see
weren't
a
enough
therapist?"
providers that look like us? But now that we have more providers that look like us, then we can send our children
Oh
to
yeah, oh
therapy.
yeah. No, we definitely, like my generation, we're
Mhm,
all for therapy. I'm
mhm.
speaking on when we grew up, what it
In
was
the
like.
era
So
that we were
maybe
in, right?
that's the reason why they are probably either in denial, or they know and they just scared. But what I'm saying is, my generation and the way that we are now, we ain't scared of nothing. We going to see that therapist. We gonna call them. We gonna look. We could do it from the comfort of our own home. VVC. You can get on the computer and talk to your therapist. Nobody has to know. It's not a thing that we feel ashamed about now. We speak our truth, and we're very transparent. And another thing is that I know for me, it was my faith. Um, that word, and that support system, that virtual support system that we have, you know, um, to make sure that, every decision that we make is up because God gave it to us to make it. So we have true discernment. And when you have that, and then you cling to that, right? I know I do. I cling to my faith. I cling to God for every answer. And then if I still can't get it, I go into my waiting room. I go into my war room. I fast. I pray until I get it. I put my face in Facebook, and not in the app, that Bible, right? That Facebook. I put it into that book. And when you do it that way, or it whatever you believe in it, I don't want to put just God on anybody, but whatever you believe in, whatever that higher power is that you believe in, just believe in something. And if you don't, try, because it's not about what you will look like doing. Is the betterment of your child. And if you love your kids as much as I love mine, you'll do whatever you can to make sure that they are getting the services that they need. Because again, it's not about you anymore, but if it's about those kids, then it's definitely about you.
And you know
So
what? And it's just what you said, Arlene. You gotta love your children. And that's the thing. A lot of times you don't see perfection. That child's not perfect. And you keep them in the background. I heard somebody say, you know what, I always see such and such with the little girl. Where the little boy at? And I heard somebody, oh, something must be wrong with him. Because they don't have that one out in the spotlight. That one is, something must be wrong with
that's
that
that
child.
mentality.
And that's difficult to hear, because you love them all the same, but they're not all the same all the time, but you still have to love them. So Arlene, what do you say? You are such the encourager. So what do you say when you notice, and you do a lot, you work a lot with young ladies, with the teenagers, and I know you observe a whole lot. I know you always watching. How do you approach a parent when you've observed something? And it may not be autism, which is our subject tonight, but it may be something else that you need to have a heart to heart. And you know this child, and you know that parent. He's like, you already know that they're not gonna be as receptive. How do you? Because you don't just not say nothing. It's like, okay, they're not gonna he receive it, so I ain't gonna say nothing. That's not your personality. So how do you handle that?
I think what you just said is going to be key. It's going to depend on the relationship that I've been able to develop with that person and with the child. A lot of times you may can reach the child better before you can actually get to the parent. If a
Hmm.
parent sees that that child has a good relationship with you and respect you, and they see how you are around their child and with their child, they have a tendency to maybe open up a little bit more, and they may listen a little bit more, and they may be a little bit more receptive because now they see that you are interested in their child. They see
Hmm.
that your child likes you and like being around you, and you know how to, how you are with the child, and that makes a difference. And
Hmm.
so it depends a lot. Sometimes, and with me, I would like for people to get to know me. I would like for them to know that my interest is genuine. You got some people that act like they're interested and they just want to be nosy, and you can spot those. It might take you a minute, but after a while, you'll spot them out. So you just have to make sure that the relationship is developed and it's a genuine relationship, and that person knows that you are genuinely interested and concerned, not just about them, but about their children and that child. And at that point, when they start coming and maybe opening up or asking you questions, and I usually kind of lead them on, but I try to let them take the lead. I want to make sure that when they come to me, they're coming to me because now they feel like I may have some information, or I may can talk to them, or I may can give them some advice. But I try to let them come to me. I try to put myself in that position where they're comfortable coming to me and they trust what I have to say.
Yeah, that's important. Trust is important, because if I don't trust you, you have to be approachable, but I don't care how approachable you are. If I can't trust you, we're hello and goodbye. We may have a conversation, but it is just totally a shallow conversation. It is nothing deep. It is no, hey, let me tell you what happened to me today. That I need some really good stern, because you guys know me. Jerry, you don't know me, but we gonna know each other. um
Mhm.
and and I can be very, very set in my ways, because I've been through a lot. And sometimes I have to get that real truthful conversation. And I'm like, okay, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of it that way. And if I trust you, I'm more apt to listen to you. If I
Mhm.
don't trust you, you can say whatever you want to say. It's just not going to happen. So And that's real talk. That's just real talk. So I want to, in the last couple of minutes that we have, I want to talk about what you guys are doing. And Jacqueline, I'm going to start with you and share what you got going on, and then we'll talk about this event that's coming up and how people can be a part of it. And listen, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it about the autism event that's happening on the 27th. You don't have to be in the city. If you're listening to the sound of my voice and you want to be a part of this event, you can reach out to me. You can send me your items and we can make it happen. So we'll talk more about that. So I feel comfortable in saying that because we need to bring awareness to this, just not just this event, but to the community. So we'll talk about that. We'll get to that in just a minute, Mo. But before we do, Jacqueline, I want you to tell everybody what you're doing and how people can connect with you.
I'm doing so much. So I have a column called Listen Linda Speaks that's coming out on the Pathos website. I'm doing 2 anthologies that are being published with LaQuita. Well, one is an anthology, one is a devotional. It's called The Women of the Waiting Room. We just got done recruiting people for the devotional, and that should be out early part of June. I just became the ambassador for Women WIN Network, the official ambassador, and I got some other things up my sleeve about that I'm going to talk about later. Marva's book, which was the #1 bestseller, My Superpowers Are Not Weird, him and his dad, they are going to be featured in the Autism Parenting magazine next month. So I'm super excited about that. Marvis is also featured in LaQuita's. I got to rep my husband. He here talk for himself now. I got to rep my mind. He's featured in both of LaQuita's new anthologies that are coming out. The Veterans Project, The War Within, and also A Journey from Boys to Men. Let's see what else is going on. What else we got going on? I also have the podcast, Listen Linda podcast, that's streaming on all platforms and now 14 countries. It's a global podcast. It's on all podcast platforms. If you guys want to be a part of that, let me know before June, because like I said, I got some things coming out in June I can't speak on right now, but that is, does that do it? Is that it? It's so much stuff. Look, you can find me on Facebook on the Jacqueline Cox, or you could just put in the search bar on Facebook, Listen Linda 23, and I will show up Jacqueline Cox. You can find me on Instagram, Spiritual Sunbeam 2020, TikTok, Spiritual Sunbeam. My kids' website, if you want to go check out some things that they have there, their books, you can get signed autograph copies. We have a total of, my family in 1 year will have published by June a total of 11 books, all through Pay-Pro-V Publishing, all #1 best-selling books. So that's total with me, my husband, and my kids. So you can find all of those books. And if they're not out there for pre-order, on the website, youngsaveleaders.myshopify.com. That's our family's website. And yeah, so I got a lot going on. That truly ain't even half of it, but I'm gonna end it right there because we'll be talking all night.
Thank you so much. And Mo and Jerry, we'll make it possible. Jacqueline and I have talked about it, but I'll make sure that there are copies of My Superpowers Are Not Weird for people to purchase. And it's a beautiful book. So
And
we'll
do
make
know
sure
that
that
it's faith-based and it's based on the scripture, Matthew 18:4-5. So I do want to note that it is a faith-based book. And so is Jaden's book. His book is based on the scripture Jeremiah, which is his middle name, Jeremiah 29:11. So just know that mostly what we do is faith-based.
Beautiful books. And the publisher is not bad. I'm just saying. The publisher,
She ain't
you
too
know,
shabby at
she ain't
all.
too shabby. Somebody said it's a po dog that won't wag his own tail. So so thank you so much, Jacqueline. And so let's talk about this event, Autism Awareness event on April 27th. Can you tell us some more about it, Noni, and what can we do to help you be successful?
I know she called on you, Mo, but let me ask you this,
Right.
LaQuita.
Okay.
Are you local? And
I
will you
am.
be, and
I am
you
local.
will be attending the event?
I am going to make it my business to do my very best to attend. But I can guarantee you, if I am not able to physically be there, I will be represented, and I
Okay.
will make sure that it's represented well. So, so I'm gonna do my very, very best.
Okay. Go ahead, Mo.
Okay, so April 27th from 11 to 2 at Virginia Burton Gray, we are having Autism Awareness Day. I always say Autism Awareness Day at Virginia Burton Gray.
And the address is 1475 East Fayetteville Road, Riverdale, Georgia, 30296.
All
Yes.
right.
So we are looking for vendors if you are in the area. So we have a form. You can reach out to LaQuita, or you can reach out to Miss Jerry at Clayton County Parks and Recs at Virginia Burton Gray Recreation Center. Miss Jerry, you want to give the number? You want to drop the number?
That is 770-603-4001.
Yes.
And can you put it in the chat too, so we can save the
Sure,
chat and then I can
absolutely.
send it out? So how many, so what, tell us about some of the activities that's going to be going on, and how many vendors are you looking for? Because we can make it happen.
Okay. Now I don't know about the number on the vendors. I'll let Miss Jerry. I don't know
Miss
if it's a
Jerry.
cap. The cap on
Okay.
that.
Well, we do have food, one food truck, one dessert vendor coming, and then we have pony rides. Hopefully we'll get some inflatables. We have someone that's going to be teaching about some of the resources that are available. And she does something very similar to you. She teaches adults with autism social skills and how to establish their own businesses and stuff like that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
So yeah, so we're looking for we got a couple of occupational therapists that are coming. We would like to have some speech therapists in the community, day program providers, waiver, now comp waiver, Clayton Community Services, those people, if you got staff that want to come out, and so we're trying to get as many people that offer services in the county to come out, and so that the community can know, like you were speaking on earlier, LaQuita, that a lot of times, sometimes people just don't know. And
Right.
everybody is not going to be as aggressive as some of us are on finding the information. So this is an opportunity that, okay, we're letting you know it's for Autism Awareness Day. And so we're just trying to get, like I said, as many resources so that people can leave. I know when I used to go to a lot of conferences and things, when I came home and I had my little goodie bag full of information, I mean, it would be weeks and months. I would be going through and sifting through and reading. And then, you look back, you call, you get the business cards. Okay. You got your pile on. Well, this applies to us right now. I still have binders of stuff that I'm just now getting to that I got years ago. Now, whether those people are still in business, we got to wait and see when I make the phone calls. But at least it gave me just a sense of accomplishing something by having that information, that at least I have a place to start. If I know more than what I knew before I got the resources. So we're really wanting to be able to provide a fun day, of course,
Yeah.
and to celebrate those individuals that are diagnosed with autism, but also to provide those parents and caregivers with the resources. So we start at 11, about 11:30. Again, for those that don't know, I am a fitness instructor. So I teach Chair One Fitness, which is a chair-based program at Virginia Burton Gray on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. I also teach Zumba Gold on Thursdays at 1 o'clock at Virginia Burton Gray. So those are classes that I teach that are under therapeutic recreation. So We will be doing a little chair one. We will be doing a little Zumba Go. We're gonna do a little mixed fit. So it'll be a little dance portion, a little chair, a little standing portion. But we're gonna have we gonna have a good time. We'll have some waters there because we gonna sweat a little bit. We're gonna get a little workout in, but typically this community loves music and they love to dance. So we just want to have fun. So we'll have that going on. And like Miss Jerry said, we will have there's going to be somebody there. We're going to be having some arts and crafts going on in one area. We are partnered with Special Olympics, so we will be having, they won't be there, but we will be having, my son has participated in Special Olympics of Georgia state games since he was little. So we will be having some basketball skills type things going on. We're going to have some other games going on. Like Ms. Jerry said, we got is it ponies or horses that are going to be outside? Hopefully the inflatables, and of course, music, food, and again, we just want to celebrate this community as well as provide those resources that we know are needed for our families.
Well, you know what? I think it is going to be fantastic. And so, listen, y'all, I'm having my own private summer. It's okay. This is real, y'all. This is not scripted. What you see is what you get. What you hear is what it is. And yes, I'm having my own private summer. This hair is hot. It's real hair, but it's hot. And so I'm having my own private summer. And that's okay because we are all different. And the more different we are, the more the same that we are. So, hey, don't judge me. So I'm so excited for this event because there are so many things going on and there's not enough awareness. And I'm gonna say from the time my children are adults now, and they are 29, 31, no, 29, 32, I think, and 33 or 31 and 33, something like that. They're almost 30. The youngest is almost 30. My point is, from the time that they were growing up and we were doing, they were in elementary school and high school, the number of people being diagnosed with autism has quadrupled. It has been, and it's amazing. And you have to take a look at some things. You just absolutely have to take a look at some things. So the community is growing, and in some ways, the resources still are not in certain areas. So, like you said, there are a lot of things up north. All three of my children live up north, and they have access to a lot of programs that they don't have down south. And so the only thing that I can say, if you're down south, you have to fight for those resources. Don't lay down, don't go out without fighting. You have your children, love your children enough to fight for them. Love your children enough to sacrifice for them because it's necessary. It is necessary. So, Noni, how can people reach you? And Jerry, how can they reach you? Let Noni go first because you do your Mo Fit all over the place. So,
Yes.
so how can people, and I know you do it at Virginia Burton Gray, and what days are you there?
I'm there on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1:00.
Okay.
Chair one is on Tuesdays at 1, and Zumba Gold is on Thursdays. When it warms up, we also add aqua movements, so we get in the water as well. So, but yes, the name of my business is Move with Mo Fitness. And you can either email me at movewithmofit@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook under Morinike White. On Instagram, Ayana is Noni. Ayana _is _Noni. Let me make sure I say it right. But other than that, I'm at Piedmont Wellness Center. I do chair classes there on Mondays and Thursdays, 10:30. I also do chair classes for seniors. I'm in Locust Grove for therapeutic recreation. I'm in Union City for therapeutic recreation. So I'm on the South Side. I'm trying to help the South Side. I'm on the South Side. So.
Okay, and girl, all that moving done made me tired. But I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Jerry, how can people connect with you?
They can reach me at Virginia Burton Gray Rec Center. And I did put the number in the chat, but it's 603-4001.
Okay. Now, are you guys are on social media? Is Virginia Burton Gray on social media?
Yes, Virginia Burton Gray is on Facebook.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. So we can tag and all that on the website. And so Miss Arlene White, how can people connect with you?
Through my daughter.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, listen, y'all. If
Oh,
y'all
and
want to,
I forgot. I also I have virtual classes too on Mondays at 5:30. So
okay.
I put my email in there. So you just reach out to me on my email, let me know you're interested, and then I'll send you the flyer information for all that stuff.
So there is something for everybody. So just because you're in Chicago doesn't mean you can't do a fitness class on Mondays because it's virtual. And it's a chair fitness. It's a chair fitness. So you're getting a good workout sitting in the chair. I know because I attended these classes on Mondays. Okay. So so you can participate in those classes. Listen, it has been such a pleasure. I appreciate you guys for being here and shedding light on what you go through on a personal level. I also am thankful for who you guys are as individuals because as you go through, you continue to make a difference. And so by people hearing your stories, you're not only making a difference in with what you do, but you're making a difference in other people's lives because there are people who are dealing with children who have who have autism, and some of them may have just been diagnosed, and those parents don't have a clue what to do. They are in disbelief. They are also probably in denial and they don't know what to do. But I guarantee you they've heard your stories and they know that there is an other side to it. They may not have a support system like you have, Noni. They may not have that. They may not have a husband as supportive as your husband is, Jacqueline. But they now know that that there is support out there. You may have to look for it. It's not gonna fall into your lap like manna from the sky. You're gonna have to look for it. And it's worth it. Get a support system because we all need that. We all need that. And so, listen, when you run across a person who thinks differently, who behaves differently than you, don't judge them. They may be different, but they may also be the same. They may be looking at you. My daughter saw a t-shirt that she loved and she always says this. The t-shirt says, "You laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at you because you're the same." You're the same. So while you're looking at me saying I'm different, I'm looking at you saying you're the same because you're just going on through with the status quo and you don't stand out at all. So you going along to get along and whatever it is, whatever you think. And so I laugh at you because you don't have a mind of your own. So when you see a person who thinks differently from you, then don't judge them. Appreciate that. And the same thing goes to anybody else. Okay. So listen, this has been an amazing, amazing episode of Our Stories Matter. So what's your story? This is a monthly segment that we do with PayPro Publishing. We know that all stories matter. We know that 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. And there is somebody waiting on the other end of their story so that they can get healing from on your story so they can get healing from their story. They may not understand that until they hear your story and they realize, wow, I can get through it. And so I know each person on this show tonight is going through something. I know that I am. And honey, I can sing a whole river of you don't know my story from this week alone. Okay. If you know how I was feeling sitting here as I'm talking to you right now, you would not believe it because thank God we don't look like what we've been through. Okay. And Jerry, I don't know you personally, but I know Jacqueline and I know Arlene and I know Mo. So, and they know me. So they know what I'm going through. So I say all that to say we all have a story. How we act within our story is what's important because where you are now you can pull somebody through where you are now, because you are an inspiration. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here. And I am your host, LaQuita Parks. Everybody has a story. If you need help telling your story, I can help you. No matter where you are in the story writing journey, your story matters. Your story has power, and there's somebody waiting. So if I can help you in any way, even if you don't want to write your story, tell your story. Don't take for granted that your story isn't important. It is important. Okay. So reach out to me at paprovpublishing.com. That's PAPROVI publishing.com. And listen, you can find me on all things social media: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the X, Twitter, used to be Twitter, TikTok. I'm still learning TikTok, LinkedIn. If all else fails, just Google me. You can Google LaQuita Parks, or you can Google Paper V Publishing. Either way, you'll find me. Or you can reach out to Jacqueline. She can find me. Kevin Vaughn, thank you so much. The best person in the whole wide world. I appreciate you and everything that you do. So listen, guys, it has been a plump, pleasing pleasure. Better than a triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And until next time, be blessed. Have a great day. And listen, don't take no wood nickels, and don't give none either. All right. I love
Thank
y'all,
you.
and there's not a thing you can do about it. Till we
Bye
meet
bye. Thank
again.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye. Good job.
Thank you so much, Kevin.